Welcome to the first video in this series where I show you the most efficient ways to perform any exercise so you can maximize your time in the gym. One of the most misperformed exercises I've seen in the gym is the barbell bench press. So let's take it from the top, literally. You want to start with your eyes right underneath the bar. The bar is over your head. You're going to have to do a lat pullover to get it into position, and that's just a bad idea if you have a ton of weight on the bar. If the bar is lower than your eyes, you'll probably hit the uprights when pressing. When you lower and lift the weight, you want your forearms to be straight up and down from a top-down angle and a side angle. This ensures you're pressing with the most efficient leverages. If your wrists go back relative to your elbows, you're transferring more load to your triceps and won't be able to lift as much weight. It's more like a tricep extension than a bench press. Same idea if your wrists go too far forward. It's basically a reverse curl at that point. From a top-down angle, if your elbows go further out to the side than your wrists, you're doing a funky tricep extension variation. Again, the load will shift off the pecs and onto your triceps. Contrast that with keeping the forearms perpendicular to the ground throughout the entire rep, and you're pressing more with your pecs than your triceps. Your hand width plays a factor in this as well. Generally speaking, having your hands wider results in more load on your pecs and less on the triceps, and vice versa if you have your hands closer. For the typical bench press, I have my hands about a hand's width wider than shoulder width to keep it consistent. You want your wrists relatively straight. A little extension is okay, so it doesn't slide out of your hands and hit you where it hurts. Keeping the forearm straight the entire time will force you to lower and press in an arc. Arch your low back if you want to try and lift more weight, and flat if you're focusing more on hypertrophy. As arching focuses more the load on the lower pecs, since this aligns with those fibers, whereas a flat back aligns more the mid-pec fibers with a line of resistance. This can be different for any 2 or 3 different people, and I will go over this in a future video for the dumbbell bench press. Before lifting, squeeze your glutes together, twist your knees out to produce more tension in the glutes, and push your feet into the ground. Your knees should be bent 90 degrees as well, so that way you're pushing more with your glutes instead of your quads or your hamstrings. This will help create a stable foundation to lift from compared to having your legs up in the air and having to try to maintain balance while lifting weight. Not a good idea from a strength standpoint. Make sure to lower the barbell under control and press up in that arc to maximize the pressing from the pecs while also driving your feet into the ground for a stable foundation. I like to do slow motion bench press for my initial warm-up sets with lighter weight to make sure I get a good feel for every part of the exercise, as well as pauses with explosive presses once I lower the bar to my chest to work in force development. For example, if my working weight is 185 pounds, I'll do the empty bar at a 4-second pace lowering and then 4 seconds pressing for 6 to 8 reps. Then I'll load up to 135 pounds and lower at a 2-second pace, pause, then press back up as explosively as possible for 6 to 8 reps. I'll do something similar for my last warm-up set at 155 or 165 pounds for 3 to 4 reps, and then get into my working weight at 185 pounds. Since your pecs and triceps work together and the bench press is a power movement, work in the 5 to 12 rep range for 3 to 6 sets. You may think 6 sets is a lot, so ease into this by adding 1 set every 2 weeks and you'll find great gains along the way. If you have any questions about the barbell bench press, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer you. I also plan to do a more in-depth video on everything bench press related, so if that is something you are interested in, let me know in the comments as well. Click like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.